is the Spurs POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the San Antonio Spurs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, that was fun. Can't say I saw it coming, but as Spurs fans, it's a pretty good way to end the night here in the Alamo City with them out in Chicago. Welcome into the Spurs POSTCAST right here on Locked On Spurs, of course, presented by Game Time. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Be sure to download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. As always, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Something we can officially say is the #1 sports podcast network, and it's because of the everydayers like yourself and all the Locked On platforms as well. He, of course, Devin Brown. My name's Casey Viera. My friend, the sentiment, the narrative that we had laid out for this evening changed, and it changed very quickly, and a slump busted along the way.
It did. Casey, thank you. Thanks. Another edition. We got a lot to talk about. Let's dive into it, Casey.
Let's do it.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right. So Spurs found themselves in a spot where they were in a 13-point hole in the fourth quarter, in a game that they actually led by 12 in the first half, but the middle two quarters were absolute disaster. Outscored 72-55. During those middle two corners. They go down by 13 early in the fourth, but they end the game on a 30-13 run. And as a result, they walk away with a win tonight in Chicago, 121-117. Victor Wembanyama snapping that slump that maybe we were premature in calling it a slump. He goes for 38, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks, 11 of 19 from the field, 6 of 9 from 3. Fox, 21, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Get ready for Stephon Castle's line here. 19 points, 5 rebounds, 11 assists. Luke Kornet, a returning Luke Kornet with 16 points and 7 rebounds. Tie it all together for me, my friend, because this thing changed. It changed fast, and it changed for the better for the Spurs.
All right, let's talk about the arena and what we saw in the first half, really out of both teams. A lot of sloppy play. Nobody really had a feel for what was going on as far as the basketball. Anybody that's, played in that gym, I've been fortunate to play there many times. There's ice underneath that floor. That arena, you can come out and do all the warming up in the weight room behind the scenes all you want. When you come out there and that ball's about to be tipped off, it's about 10 degrees out there, Casey. So,
and it was snowing out there tonight. It was snowing out there tonight too. It was snowing out there tonight.
Yeah. And it yesterday was about 5 degrees in that gym. Then
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, it's one of the tougher arenas to play. And when the Spurs go play the Nuggets, I'll have more to say about that one. But Chicago, it is a very tough, and that's why I think tonight was a big win, as far as diving into that later. But the conditions weren't great. Mitch was messing with the lineups a little bit, here and there, trying to find a rhythm. He went in the fourth quarter. He went to that lineup that helped the Spurs get off to that 5-0 start, Casey, which meant. Sitting De'Aaron Fox, who was your second leading scorer all night, bona fide all-star, that takes nerve. That's Popovich stuff right there. Sitting him for the stretch that he did. But he was just trying to find a rhythm, trying to find, it's really, you're looking at it 3 or 4 minutes, maybe a 5th minute that if the team's playing well, but something to get going and finish that game out.
Yeah, and I think that's a luxury that they do have, that you can take that gamble with the way Stephon Castle is playing right now as it pertains to sitting Fox and to a lesser extent sitting Wemby. You can take that gamble, you can do that, and you can ride that hot hand, especially when you have a guy trying to, eat the numbers. He still played 37 minutes, but De'Aaron Fox is still trying to, find his way back into the fold of things, because we have to remember, too, he's only now played 7 games with Victor. So that's still something that's very green in the process. So let's talk about the roadmap, how they got there, because yes, it was a big rally in the fourth quarter, 30-13, but it was 2 triples in between by the big guy that ultimately is going to be the turning point tonight.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
All right, so a minute to go. Victor, I guess at this point, has 12 points or 10 points in the quarter. They're down by 3. Victor hits a 3 from straight away.
Right.
Ties things up, 104. Or ties things up, I should say. They get the stop. Actually, a Harrison Barnes block on Trey Jones. Victor comes right back, goes ISO mode, launches another 3, pulls another one, gets it. Spurs take the lead, go up by 3 with 30 seconds left. And, of course, hit their free throws, take care of business the rest of the way, walking away with the win. This is something that we haven't seen from Victor yet this season in terms of just go isolation, score 30 feet from the basket, taking you off the dribble. His monster games that he had was free throw line and everything inside of that. What did you like? I know you and I have both been the advocates for big guy get in the paint, but what did you like about tonight that really worked, that really resonated and freed him up to, do things to create and ultimately win this game?
Well, obviously Victor was, he was special in the fourth. I want to go back to the beginning of the game, the energy he started the game with. I mean, he was all over the place. And you can tell that, he was ready for this one. It was a different look, right? And, it had that bouncy feel to it. And, he had the stroke going early. And then obviously in the fourth, it went to another level. It went to a level, where that's, Spurs fans, that's what I'm talking about. A lot of them are saying that around our wonderful town tonight after seeing that performance by the big fella. So, very interesting because, he was stepping and walking right into threes, confident, all as could be, was not going to let, his team down and lose that game tonight. So, when you start diving into, that Victor and Victor plays like that with that chip on his shoulder, that's a whole different animal right there.
And honestly, it's kind of the first time we've seen him do that this year. Not in general. First time we've seen him kind of do that this year. These crunch time takeovers like that in terms of
sort of Dallas. He was a man in Dallas.
Oh no, I meant fourth quarter because the Dallas game was over in the third quarter. I meant fourth quarter closing crunch time moments. We haven't seen that. And he looked
right. No, you're right. He made some. I mean, that 3 from the top. I mean, that's a huge bucket. Yeah. But the one from the corner. I mean, just tough shot after tough shot. But like I said, superstars like that. That's what you're accustomed to out of guys like that.
And we've been waiting to see how he breaks out of his slump. And it's what was the final numbers? 38, 12, 5, 5, 11 of 19, 6 of 9 from 3. That's a pretty good way to do it. So,
yeah, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah, we got over 200 of you guys hanging out with us right now. We appreciate you doing that. Coming up on the other side of things here on the Spurs Postcast, going to take a deeper dive into Victor's, I guess, I was going to say breakout. That's such a wrong word. Snap slumping, whatever you want to call that. Whatever you want to call that. He had a great night tonight. And some tweaks in the rotation that got Mitch Johnson into and then subsequently out of trouble. And part of the reason the Spurs are 121-117 winners tonight in the Windy City to move to 8-2 on the season for the first time since the 13-14 season, doing something that a lot of guys with championship pedigree have done. But before we do that, let's talk to you some other people, some other fine folks with championship pedigree. That first being Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in on every opening that you got in Robinhood. Beating your PR, beating it again, channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. You trade stocks, ETFs, options, futures, crypto, all on one platform. It's pretty cool. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood's Legends Advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, so expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/your money. Again, that's robinhood.com/your money. Your money, your move. I'll tell you what else is money. It's the fact that the idea that basketball is back. It's been back for a little while now. We're 10 games deep, and we're feeling good, and we're feeling good about going to the Frost Bank, to the Frost Bank Center, because they're playing well. The Spurs are playing well, but as we know, getting tickets sometimes can be a headache. But that's why I want to talk to you about Game Time, because it's an app that gives fans the advantage, the ultimate life hack to get NBA tickets quick, easy, stress-free. None of the queues, surprising fees, the price jumps. I hate that. That's what drives me nuts when it comes to buying tickets. So this is what you should be using for the Golden State Warriors games coming up Wednesday and Friday, and the other 3 games if you're going part of the 5-game homestand that's on deck. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. As always, terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket, and go. And finally, tonight's show presented in part by Rugiet. Let's be real, making excuses does not solve anything. We've heard them before. You're stressed, tired. It happens to everyone sometimes, but when it comes to performance, your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rugiet comes in. Go to Rugiet.com. They offer fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. So visit Rugiet.com, Rugiet.com. Right there, you see it on your screen, /LockedOnNBA. Take care. You're going to get 15% off your first order. One more time, Rugiet.com. Stop making excuses. Start making moves as we get ready to get back on track and talk about a Spurs team that continues to make plenty of positive strides in the right direction. All right, bring my buddy Devin Brown back in. Of course, welcome back to the Spurs Postcast right here on Locked On Spurs. In case you missed it, now the #1 sports podcast network in the world. Big reason why everyone checking in right now here at 10 o'clock at night, all 200 of you nearing, and we appreciate that for us and the entire Locked On family with all you everydayers. It's starting to become an everyday type thing, my friend, that Mitch Johnson is going to have to try his hand for better or worse with this, because when you factor in the unique blend of veterans that they do have, player that they do have, an all-star that they do have, rookies who are going to get significant minutes that, well, at the current moment they do not have, but that's been a challenge of his. You're going to see times, for better or worse, when lineups work, and you're going to see times where lineups do not work. And it started off great tonight. I mean, they went up by 12 in the first quarter, but then there was kind of some questionable decisions in the game, if you will. It's easy for me to say because the middle 2 quarters, like we mentioned off the top, were not great. Outscored 72-55. But Luke Kornet back in the fold. Obviously, you would think that prioritizes him at center. And I'm saying this in like the second quarter when we're watching this. Obviously, he did, prioritize that more the back end of the game. But there was minutes that were out there where neither Kornet or Victor are playing the 5. I believe he had Sohan playing the 5 at that particular moment.
Right.
Speak to the challenge that a coach faces in this situation where you have so many fluid pieces. Like, by default, you're trying to figure it out because it's a new season. But then, 2, how tough is it to figure it out when there's just so many consistent moving pieces in and out like this?
All right. I'm looking at you. See me looking at my phone, right?
I figured you were looking at the stats. I was hoping I wasn't boring you, but
No, not at all. No, listen. You had Luke Kornet, who played 20 minutes, who gives you 16 and 7. Moving forward, he's going to be out there. If he's healthy, he's going to be out there. Why? Because he really helps out Wemby. Okay. You got these other guys out here. Keldon's just a dog. He hustles. He's going to play. He was in there in the 4th. Well, then, Champagnie played 22 minutes, but, he didn't give you anything. He's coming off hitting 6 threes. Like, I get that part of it, right? Mm-hmm. You have Vassell, who played 21 minutes, 4 points, 4 rebounds.
Real quick, just to interject there with Vassell, he left with a migraine in the 3rd quarter. He left with a migraine. Devin Vassell didn't come back. So that's small caveat.
Where'd you get a migraine from?
That's what
they said?
That's what they said. Yeah, that's what Jacob and Sean said on the broadcast. I don't know, man. It's cold.
I'm looking at my phone.
Go back to what you're doing. Sorry.
I have a migraine too if I'm not getting my shot attempts like I normally. All right, I'm not going there. So what I'm saying is you got some guys here that have stepped up before, okay, and you get 38 from the big fella, 21 from Fox, Castle 19 and 11. You get a victory on the road in a tough environment. You're going to take that if you're Coach Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
These guys aren't going anywhere, and that these guys are going to have better games. So what you're going to do is you don't really have to keep an eye on anything. You play guys their normal minutes. Next game, you don't really want to go game by game. You want to go every like 2 or 3 games. Then if someone's struggling, then we might take a look at it, give somebody else his minutes or whatever. But because the young guy that I know I've always messed up his name, the bald gentleman, McLovin.
Jordan McLaughlin.
McLaughlin, yeah. So he was playing well the first couple of games, and then all of a sudden, this Lindell Waters just starts playing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't anything that the other guy did wrong. It's just that's how deep the basketball team is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Mitch isn't going to really, he doesn't really have to look at anything. He just knows that he has a lot of weapons out there and that these guys are going to be ready to play in any role that they need any given night.
How long does it take to condense that, do you think? Because while you have options, I feel like it's going to have to just condense at some point.
Is that after the All-Star break?
I was going to say, because you love the 25 game. Is that's an after
20
break thing?
25 at a time. Yeah, absolutely. 25 at a time. And it kind of gives you like, where you're at. We're right now, this is 10 games. Yeah. You don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 games. So you don't want to be too high right now. 25 games at a time. Mm-hmm. And then we get past that All-Star break. And now the way the NBA schedule is, it's less games after the All-Star break. So you really going to have to get settled into a lineup. But right now, you just want to keep everybody healthy right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're getting love in the chat for the McLovin comment.
Yeah, no, I've been waiting to use that for like 5 shows now.
I was going to say, you better get them in quick because Dylan Harper will be back at some point too, and then you'll have to pocket them until who knows when.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he will be back. But yeah, just like I was saying before, just right now, just make sure that everybody's healthy, everybody's ready to go. Because you can pull so many different guys right now. You don't want anybody, feeling like they're not gonna play. That's when you start losing guys.
Mm-hmm. One guy who you're not gonna have to worry about losing minutes is Stephon Castle. I think I need to acknowledge that I have been spewing misinformation on this app. Because about a week ago, after the 2 rough games at Phoenix and LA, I was like, okay, Fox coming back. I don't know if Steph Castle is really the facilitator, the guy you put with the ball in your hands. He had tonight his 3rd straight game with double-digit assists. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, I might have got that one wrong. I think I got that one wrong. He's looking pretty good as a facilitator, and I'm just watching it. There was that first quarter where he. There was a play in transition, and then, bless Trey Jones's heart, but Castle just coming 100 miles an hour, and he hits the low cross, Brunson, Euro, left.
In and out crossover.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I definitely got that one wrong for sure. But how, in your mind, the dynamic between him and Fox, it's so, how do you think that works, though, in terms of like the facilitator aspect of things? Like, it's easy for me to say, but when someone looks at the box score, they're seeing like Fox. Okay, what do you finish with? 4 assists tonight? 5 assists?
Right.
5 assists. So someone looks at it, the immediate assumption is, okay, well, they're letting Castle be the primary ball handler and Fox off the ball spotting up, which I guess to an extent could be true. But how does something like that kind of work, a dynamic, when you have 2 guys who are just ball dominant like that?
Well, last year, both of them for a little bit, Fox, but Castle more so. Who was the other guard that was here? Chris Paul. That's someone that needs the basketball in their hand. So they had to deal with that. So with these two, to answer your question, the one thing that I give Castle a lot of credit for, and I believe I've said it before, is that he's not, since Fox has been back, and I know it's only been a small sample size, 2 games, right? He's not deferring to him at all. Like he is. There was times I saw in the fourth quarter that ball gets inbounds, and you see him waving that arm like this. He's telling Fox, "Go, I'll bring it up." Like, okay,
Right.
because Castle is playing just with a ton of confidence right now, and it doesn't matter. It's like he's not saying I'm playing with De'Aaron Fox. Fox is playing with us. Like it's crazy, because his confidence is through the roof. So I give him a lot of credit because he has not deferred to him at all.
At all.
And so he's playing at a high level. This is 3rd straight game, 10 plus assists, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so, a couple of those lobs that he's throwing at Kornet, he almost took Wemby's head off there in that third quarter. Yeah, Wemby wasn't expecting that one. The little no look in the lane. He's just playing. He's a basketball player. Sometimes you don't and you don't have stats for players like that they can just play, and that's what he is. He's just a baller, and he's doing a great job of it.
And it goes back to that. Just sometimes with Vic, you just need ball players like that. Not by positional title.
Not by
just
Casey,
guys.
That's why him and Kornet are so effective together because, man, like. Yeah, Kornet is awesome. Like he is a really good basketball player, and they've mentioned it on the broadcast how great him and Kelly Olynyk move without the ball, and they're 100% correct. They're just basketball players.
I've been, and it's only been 3 games plus the preseason. I didn't realize how mobile Luke Kornet was.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like end-to-end speed, Fox type deal. Of course not. But just how fluid he looks off the screen and roll and his ability to get to the basket. You look out there and you just think this is a guy who's just going to eat up 10 minutes so Victor can catch his breath and you hope for the best. No, not at all. The lateral quickness is there, the fluidity off these screens to make that extra pass. He's deceptively athletic. And that's been my takeaway for the first 3 games. You watch him on prime time. Boston, of course, he was on once a week, but never really had kind of a conscious eye on it. I think the first time you really saw it was the game 5 in the playoffs last year against the Knicks, where he had like a half dozen blocks, and it was really a coming out party, and probably got him paid just that one game alone. Many of reasons now,
absolutely,
but it's fantastic. He's been fantastic. He's been fantastic.
No, he's been great.
Yeah. He's not going to be our player of the game tonight. I get the feeling, despite that. If we could, we would. Because this is just one of those nights where you just got to, my friend, show love to the big guy.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I'm assuming. We didn't talk about it beforehand, but I'm assuming that's your player of the game tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Vic. I'm not messing this one up. I caught you off guard last game. I'm gonna go with Vic. Vic had it going. Just great concentration by him. Like I said, love it from the start of the game all the way through. We did see both sides of Big Vic tonight. There was some, and I told you about the couple of those fouls that are careless. He had a couple of those. But when you step up and you hit threes like he did down the stretch, all is forgiven.
It is. There was a little element of it that was a little out of control. The shot selection is not great, but when does it have? It has never been particularly great since he's been here. He just makes up with it with talent alone. Stuff you live with. And Spurs fans will be plenty fine with him if the shot selection's not there, they go in. And when they go in and then you win games, they win games.
They probably want him to take more crazy shots.
Yeah, they say whatever works, man. They'll
Whatever
start
works.
eventually when that shooting skid finally coming to a close. Vic going for 38 points, 12 rebounds, 5 blocks, 5 assists, 11 of 19 from the field, 6 of 9 from 3. That obviously is a season high. They're back in town, opening a 5-game homestand this week, starting Wednesday against Golden State. Real quick, how does this translate? How does this keep going into a big homestand coming up?
It's a chance to get 5. You know, it's going to be tough, you know, playing Golden State back to back, but look at it as a playoff scenario, right? Your first 2 games at home. Just got to take care of business. And like I said, some of these other guys, you know, they got headaches, you know, whatever it is that they got, coughs, sneezes, whatever. Get ready to play because the Warriors, they're going to come in there ready.
You sound like a prime mid-2000s Spur. It's the only way I can describe that.
Yeah, we didn't sit out.
Had no choice.
Yeah, we had no, because hey, if you
better be hanging on, Devin.
If you got hurt, it was 5 games, not this one game. It was 5. You had to sit. Remember, they had the injured reserve list. You had to sit out 5 games.
Yeah,
yeah,
true. It's changed.
That's a long time.
Yeah,
it's a long time.
Well, we're happier on this side now. I have an excuse to be injured, I guess. When I don't know. Well, anyways, good show tonight, my friend.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
I'm doing it. Spurs 121-117 winners. A lot of international love in the program tonight. Saw some Canada representation. So the program is worldwide. I don't know what else to say other than thank you. And the whole Locked On family thanks you all, the everydayers, because we're the #1 sports podcast network in the world right now. So we appreciate that. You are the ones that drive the program. You're the ones that make this fun. Of course, we'll be back Wednesday after the Warriors game in town. If you're going, have fun. If you're not, well, come have fun with us after the game. Or if you're on your way back home, check in with us too. So that said, for my dear friend, Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown, my name's Casey. Spurs winners tonight. Their best start since the 13-14 season as they move to 8-2 on the year.